after watching Star Wars The Last Jedi, I am convinced that General Hux wanted the Resistance to escape. Here's why. Hey everybody, I'm Taylor from Beard vs. Geek, where I show you it is okay to be a man and a geek at the same time. Today I'm offering you a very interesting Star Wars theory. I have come to the conclusion that General Hux wanted the Resistance to escape. Starting off with The Last Jedi, we come to a scene at the very beginning where the First Order has the Resistance by the cojones. All they have to do is destroy a couple of ships and the base on the surface, and they're good to go. Now, with the First Order, what does General Hux do? First off, he waits to talk to Poe before launching an attack against the Resistance immediately and quelling the threat once and for all. He stops and gets trolled by Poe. Another thing is that with the giant guns attached to the big-ass ship, instead of targeting the means of escape and thereby stranding the Resistance around and on the planet, what does General Hux do? He orders them to target the base on the surface, not the means of escape, but the evacuation point. Not using sound tactical abilities, he is asking the Resistance to escape, and he gives them time while talking to Poe. You don't need to tell somebody that you're going to destroy them. You just do it. They already know you're going to destroy them. That's the point of the war. Secondly, after the giant-ass space gun blows up the base on the surface, it takes a good solid amount of time to receive the order from General Hux to retarget the escape craft. Instead of being told immediately after firing upon the planet, target that spaceship, he takes his sweet time and he lets the Resistance perform a counterattack and gets distracted by one X-Wing before giving the order to blow up the main ship. What the hell, dude? Yes, the gun needs time to recharge, but you can move it and target the enemy in the meantime while it's recharging, not after. And in the meantime, General Hux lost a giant-ass ship. A giant-ass ship that he was relying on to kill the Resistance. Instead of using all of his ships to blow up the Resistance, he was relying on one. Not all the other powerful ships that he has, just the biggest and the baddest. And he repeats this mistake throughout the movie. Now, after the First Order tracks down the Resistance after they stop using light speed and they come in and they go surprise and they start blowing people up, General Hux orders Kylo Ren and the rest of his fighters to retreat back when the Resistance is getting out of range from the barrages coming from the giant ship. Note, not all of the giant-ass ships, just Snoke's giant-ass one. By so doing, he allows them to slowly run out of fuel before picking them off one at a time. Again, this comes down to tactics. You have a boatload more firepower and resources than your opponent does. Yes, they are out of effective range of your long guns, but that can take away from their shields while you have literally thousands of fighters be able to go in and blow up the Resistance. Yes, they were doing that very effectively at the start of the surprise attack, but you know what? They could have polished them off in a couple of hours tops by sending out only fighters to attack this very small fleet of 3 ships. Not even an armada. 3 freaking ships. A couple hundred TIE fighters versus 3 ships and a handful of X-Wings. I wonder who would win. Meanwhile, what General Hux was doing is allowing them to formulate another plan. It was allowing them time to escape somehow, somewhere. If he really wanted to destroy the Resistance, you could have very, very simply. But he did not. And this allowed the Resistance to make a surprising counterattack and destroy General Snoke's big-ass ship. That's taking out a dreadnought and General Snoke's big-ass ship. Now let's go down to the planet, where a ground assault was planned against a Resistance stronghold. And by that meaning a giant-ass door that had no other entrances or exits into it except for the dozen or so that the Resistance was able to come in and out of from their trenches back into the base, and like the flappy doors of the ships coming out of it. Yeah, there was more than one entrance into that thing. But anyway, what does General Hux do? He sends down a handful of walkers and TIE fighters. Yes, the TIE fighters are commanded to follow and destroy the Millennium Falcon by Kylo Ren's order. But what does Hux do? Well, to start with, he only enlisted a dozen TIE fighters and a half a dozen of those big-ass walker things in order to blow up this rebel base. What he could have done is use his giant-ass space guns from the surface and blow up the crap out of them. Yes, you don't have a dreadnought, but you know, those giant Imperial Star Destroyers, or whatever we're calling them now, have big-ass guns on them. They blew up TIE fighters in the first movie. Why couldn't they target a space on a planet, a stationary target, and blow the crap out of them from orbit? Or if you're going to do a ground assault, why not release the full might of the First Order and kill the Resistance? No problem whatsoever. Yes, that's what Kylo Ren wanted. He wanted to destroy these people. Yes, he got sidetracked with Luke. But you know what? You wouldn't have even found out about Luke if you managed to want to kill the Resistance and send out a crap ton of troops in order to do it. When it comes to engaging an enemy, having the high ground, in this case space, and having more men and more technology, it's a freaking win, man. But you did not commit the troops. You did not send the order to bombard them from space and wipe them out, no problem. Instead, he took a relatively small amount of troops and took a weird-ass way in order to try to break down the front door, which would not have been needed with giant space guns. With all this leads me to the conclusion that General Hux must have wanted the Resistance in order to escape. But the question becomes, why? Well, there's a practical reason and there's a story reason. The practical reason is that the writers who created this character sucked, and they did not know anything about military tactics, and they wrote a very poor and idiotic character, and they did not use their brains. Or the story reason is that General Hux is smarter than all of us, and he realizes the importance of having a resistance in order to have a firm fascist grip on the galaxy. By using a small terrorist organization and fear of that organization, the First Order is able to implement strict fascist policies in order to maintain order in the galaxy. We have actually seen this in the US government as well with our war on terror. The US government pointed to different terrorist organizations and used that as an excuse to push forth policies that actually decrease our rights and freedoms as American citizens. For example, the ability to use this cell phone as a spying device on me if they see fit. So it is very possible that in a story way, General Hux could be smarter than all of us, and he needs the resistance in order to maintain a fascist government. Or he's just a crappy character written by a bunch of crappy writers who don't know what the hell they're doing when it comes to military tactics. Either way, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And if you want to see more Star Wars videos, go ahead and subscribe, because every week I show you how it's okay to be a man and a geek at the same time. You can click right here for an awesome theory about Star Wars, or you can click right here for some more manliness and geekiness. Because after all, if the women don't find you manly, they should at least find you geeky. And until next time, beard on, bro.